I'm ZoWilliams, the voice of reason. If your relationship is in trouble, I'm the dude to call. Has your soulmate become your cellmate? Does black love still exist? What are your bedroom turnoffs? Fantasies and fetishes. Financial infidelity. I'm dating a fat person. Are they worth the wait? Trust me, this gonna be crazy.
How about the heavy stuff?
The child wasn't his, and he still had to pay child support.
It's a very heated topic.
How was that right?
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
I just like to kiss a woman's ass. Is there something wrong with that?
Damn.
He told me he had a vasectomy. I'm pregnant.
Betrayal has been committed.
Hit you with the bad pipes routine.
How does he maintain his humposity?
He likes it when it pinches my neck.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
Yeah.
How do you write women so well?
ZoWilliams,
Reason and accountability.
the voice of reason.
Yeah. What do we...
Yeah. Yes.
Is that H-Town?
With my boy Luke. Is that what they say?
These biscuits. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is that where you got
The
that?
voice. No.
That's where Zoe got the I knew it. That's hilarious.
The voice of reason back in the building. It's Wednesday. You know what we do here. We have crazy, crazy, crazy relationship topics. And let me just give you a little context and background for where this topic came from. On Tuesday nights, I do a show called the 5150 Show with, famed comedian and actor Corey Holcomb. Now, Corey Holcomb, man, is, they call him the ghetto Dr. Phil. He has some of the realest and rawest information about relationships, and it's funny, right? But he was talking, last night we were talking about a show. Why can't you keep a man? Lady. So I was like, okay, I got to do a continuation of that, because what was interesting was a lot of women called into the show last night and were sharing those moments. So I was figuring like, okay, I have an all-female panel. It would be good to get their opinion on it, as well as open up the phone lines here for the sisters who listen to this show. So as is commonplace, you guys understand that this is a caller-driven show. We need you to get to your phone lines. The number to dial is 844-55-1. Today's topic is man repellent ideas and behaviors most women are unaware of. What are you doing or saying to push dudes away? Now, we don't want no candy-colored cartoon reasons. We want like some real internal stuff, right? We want some truth. I push him away because I'm too nice. No, we're talking about, we talking about like some real stuff, character flaws. Ladies, if you're brave enough, I'm hoping that you are. If you're brave enough, please call in and share your top 3, mental flaws, idea flaws, like beliefs you have that have run motherfuckers away. I want to know. Listen, now let me introduce the crew who's here right now. We're waiting on Veronica Conway to call into the show. But sitting in the studio right now, we have AKA Ashonti Ford. Her real name is Red Panda now. She's legally changed it. Right? She's in the building. What's up?
I am having a fantastic day today, Zoe. Just getting shit done, It's a good Wednesday.
Good time.
And then next to AKA Red Panda, we've got Whitney Taber, Team Taber in the building.
Yee! What is poppin'? It's Wednesday. Hey, guys.
The Realionaires.
It is keeping it real all day by myself. Who said that?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Honestly. By myself. Oh, Kevin Hart. Yeah, shout out to that guy.
Let me just say, can making God your number one priority be a good man repellent? You know them hella super religious women I'm just saying. Can making your job priority number one be man repellent? Like off. You remember that shit to keep the mosquitoes off?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, what beliefs do women use that actually work against them with regards to having a really good man in their lives? What beliefs are anti-good men that women use all the time? I want to hear from Whitney Taber. Whitney!
You want to hear from me first, huh? Man, well, there's a lot. I really want the ladies to call in, honestly, because I feel like I have a little this off. The dude off, I'll call it. Fella off. You know, I bought a can of that about 5 years ago, and it's still working. I don't know where these guys are, but yeah.
Dude off.
Dude off. Spray, I spray a little of that on. And honestly, for myself, I guess as far as this topic goes, I wanted to push people away because of my bad relationship in the past.
Oh,
so I did it on I did it on purpose for myself, but I mean, I want to know from other ladies, do you ladies want a relationship? Are you doing it on purpose? What are you doing? So
844-55-1.
Give us a call.
Ashonti Ford, your thought.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to expand quite a bit, but my fine line is always trying to figure out how to allow a man to be human, because humans make mistakes, but then at the same time not feel like I'm being taken advantage of or walked all over. So sometimes it's a hard line. That for me is my main issue.
Interesting.
That's your main man off?
That's my main man off, yeah. Because maybe them messing up is really just them being human. It's hard to decide between the two.
You know what's funny? So I always talk to my friends about it. You know, I'm okay. I think I'm ready for a relationship now, but no one is approaching me. I don't know what I'm doing, and they tell me that I'm intimidating. I feel like that's the most annoying thing that I hear from my fellow female friends is, well, you're really intimidating. Or men even tell me I'm intimidating, and I'm like, I'm not going to change my character as a person just because I want to have a boyfriend. Like, that's kind of weird. So I'm not going to stop being the strong, independent woman that I am.
Interesting.
Just because I want to have a boyfriend or somebody to spend my life with. Like, I mean, yeah, we can calm it down a little bit, I guess, but you gotta step it up, playa.
Kevin Burnett on Twitter at Burnett03 says, you want to run a man away? Challenge his masculinity. Do you think challenging a man's masculinity is inbuilt into the millennials?
Challenging a man's anything is built into the millennials. But then again, can we just say that men are a lot more sensitive now than they used to be?
Sensitive is a new term. Back in the day, sensitive is a new term. Like, shit is inverted today, right? Like, back in the day, if you showed someone empathy, that was a good thing. Today, showing someone empathy is considered soft. You're weak.
Thirsty.
Back in the day, if you talked reckless to a man and he popped off on your ass, that was par for the course. Today, that's being described as sensitive. No, men are not to be played with. And I think today, women are isolated and insulated from where manhood has come to where it is today. So what is defined as sensitive in a lot of men is actually masculinity uncontrolled. See, a woman will respect a man who has control of his masculinity, in the sense of, I'm not going to let you get under my skin to cause me to pop off on you. Right? So that's seen as strength, and rightfully so.
Right.
But at the same time, if we want to use the human concept that everybody is human, masculinity at its lowest form can be savage. But if we want to talk about humanity and the error and the flaw of humanity, to err is human, to forgive is divine. If we want to go that route, then women have to understand that men have limitations and can't be pushed past the limitation, right? Because if we just take it off of the gender and we ask women, do people in general have limits for what they can tolerate from other people? And if they're sensible, if they're intelligent, most of them will say, Of course, everybody has boundaries and limits, right? But not with their men. That's where the double standard comes in. With their man, you're never supposed to show me the savagery in you. You can show it to other people, and I'm attracted to that when you show it to other people, but you can't show it to me. To me, that's unrealistic. But that's what we're talking about. These beliefs that are held that push good men away, that push good opportunity away. We want to know about it. The phone lines are wide open, 844-55-1. Do we have Veronica Conway in the building?
Yes, I am here. Hello, hello, hello.
VC, are you listening to this stuff?
I am listening to this stuff.
What do you think about the female relationship saboteur? Right? Why?
Well, I know the recipe for attracting men that will end up not being in any way good for you, and that is to really compromise yourself, like the law of your being. And what I mean by that is the things that are fundamentally true, that you fundamentally are, want, stand for, your purpose, the things that are fundamentally you, and that takes some investigation to figure out what that is. But I promise you, if you compromise for a man, for his approval, on the things that are fundamentally you, you will attract some no good motherfuckers for real.
But isn't that how society is set up? Isn't society set up for women to try to show the man that she's dealing with that she's for him, she's about him, she's down for him, all of that? Isn't that part of the whole get down?
She's meant to show him that she's out there as bait, right? She puts herself out there as bait and does all these things to sweeten the bait, right? Instead of trusting that who she is, by definition, if she adheres to that and abides by that, she will attract men that are actually for her. But we get so caught up in trying to seduce. They talk about glamour. That really is like a form of seduction. We get caught up in trying to seduce, and so we override what's really true for us. And that's how we end up with the boy picker broke, is because we've compromised.
But this is what I want to make sure we don't do. Because you guys are real slippery and oily, and you guys have a way of flipping it back on the man and making the man responsible. I want to know the faulty beliefs you have in place as females. I want to know. Ladies, call in.
You mean what's the question? Why do we have stank attitudes?
Yes. Yes. Why?
Do it with myself. We usually choose out of some wounding. Right, some earlier wounding.
Here we go.
Where we feel like we're not enough, and we gotta go prove. And if you gotta prove something to somebody, that means you don't believe it. So we end up with this wounding, like dictating what we accept and tolerate. So unless we go back and sort of explore that wounding and really investigate it and take some responsibility for it, then we'll tend to not realize that wherever we go, there we are. And so we think that it's over there with them, but it's really over with the chooser, right? It's us the chose. So that if we never reconcile that, then it leads to persistent stankiness.
Persistent stankiness. I like it. Red Panda?
Are you asking me why women have nasty attitudes?
Yes, please.
I don't know. That's a pretty loaded question. Some people, I think, just off top have attitude problems, regardless of if it's a good day, a bad day. Some people just have a nasty disposition. And then for those women who don't, who it may be situational, I think men need to understand, and I've said this before, you can't have an angel in hell. So if you want an angel, create heaven. For most women, I don't think we just walk around with nasty stank attitudes. You know what I mean?
844-55-1. If you agree or disagree with Red Panda, that is a profound statement. She believes that most women are not walking around with stank attitudes, and that somehow those attitudes are at the effect of something some silly nigga did.
Well, not even a guy.
I mean,
not even a guy, just in general. Like I said, even Veronica mentioned earlier, some people are wounded. There are those people that just have a nasty disposition about them. And then there are other people that their attitude is situational and it should be put in context.
Man,
Whitney Taber, Millionaire.
Let's just go 1,000. Like, let's just do it. I feel like most women are stank attitude all the time. Like Ashonti said, though, it could be work or parents or whatever. Their dog, I don't know. But
their dog. I'm done.
Anything could just trigger that. But one personal situation I was in, because I feel like I always try to be happy. I'm smiling even though I'm trying to always make everything positive. So I moved to LA, and the person that I moved in with was a female. And she's one of those. She always has a boss stank attitude. She feels like if she doesn't, she's letting her guard down and people are going to take advantage of her. So I told her, I said, well, yeah, I've had a bad relationship and this, that, and the other, but I still want love and I still want a husband and I still want all of these lovely, happy things because this is what I want in my life. She literally told me I was dumb and naive for thinking that way. Like I'm stupid because I want to because I want to be happy and still be in love, and I still trust and believe that will happen someday because I don't have this mean bitchy attitude. Oops, sorry guys. Because I don't have that, I was looked at as a stupid little girl by another female.
But see, don't bitches raise bitches? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't the same concept of hurt people be applied to the motherfucking universal team of women who pass on bad advice to other women because they're salty?
So mad.
I think we had a show about this.
You guys have like a salt convention where y'all just teach each other how to be dickheads.
If you guys tried the new, this is the new Himalayan salt. Have you guys tried this?
Salt?
No. But I recently, I met with her mom as well because she was actually a friend of mine. We're no longer friends anymore. And literally I met her mom and was like, oh, well, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is. Just like Zoe said, it is passed down. The salt has been passed down. And I'm like, you want to grow up and be miserable just like your mom is bitching about this? Keep doing that. Like, I chose to be happy whether I'm lonely or not.
Let me speak on this. I have a homegirl. Mm-hmm. She is a really good person. I've literally known her since we were 17, since college. I think she's sweet. I actually know her. But if somebody were to meet her on the outside, they would think that she had a stinking ass, nasty ass attitude. And that's what I mean. I actually know her. So to me, this is just how she is. This is who she is. She's a great person. But from looking on the outside, depending on your perspective, you may think differently.
Interesting.
No, yeah, perspective is kind of crazy.
True or false? For most women, a lack of self-esteem often leads to fear of competing.
I definitely.
Women don't want to compete. And then if they have low self-esteem, they're already looking and judging and envious. And you understand what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And then they don't participate.
Well, that's what I was talking to my girlfriend earlier about this, and she said, well, low confidence is a factor. She said, honestly, a lot of men I don't even approach because I assume because he looks good that he already has too many hoes for me to even try. I'm not even going to try.
Interesting.
And then it comes off, and then it flips around, and it makes her look like he actually wanted to talk to you, but because you're you got too many hoes, I ain't with you now. You are the stink lame who don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're the one who's doing them.
And this has been crazy on social media, and we actually talked about it on a show a couple weeks ago, how a woman will meet a guy and be like, you have a good job? You don't have any kids? You don't have any issues? Like, what's wrong with you? Ugh. And not want to talk to him actually because he has all of his shit together. We're almost killing it for ourselves.
And I feel
sometimes.
like and that right there to me, it makes me think, you know what? She's probably doing that because she's insecure about not having her stuff together. She probably just a deadbeat lame chick with 16 kids and 12 baby daddies. Like, that's probably why she's like, oh, you're actually doing things right. I can't compete with you, so I'm going to be a
Stankdom. Veronica, you want to add to the stankerific conversation we're having right now?
Stupid.
You're saying does she fail to compete? You mean compete for a man's attention? Is that what you mean by that?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Because you got to compete.
I mean,
The numbers dictate that you got to compete on some level.
Too many chicks out here.
It's too many.
What?
It's too many women.
compete
I don't.
Yes.
I don't compete.
for a man to think it?
Yeah.
Nah,
Me.
nah.
Virgos
I know you guys don't think so,
Virgos,
but it happens.
that.
It does happen.
It definitely. I see it on other females, but I
See,
guess.
Veronica, you got to come down. We're gonna call Veronica Raiden from
Come on down.
from Mortal Kombat. She's a god. She comes down to mediate some of the battles between the mortals. But let me just say, in real life, women compete.
Women compete.
In real life,
Yeah.
women compete for men's attention.
Don't men compete for women's attention? I think men are more competitive with their egos than women. Men don't want nobody around, literally. I think when it comes to competing, men take the cake on that, not
That's
women.
their thing, though. They're
I
supposed
think-
to compete.
yeah.
Exactly.
Dudes
That's why
shouldn't
I'm
be
saying
competing.
that's
Females-
a guy thing.
Women should compete too, Veronica.
I
Think
ain't
about
gotta
it.
compete with these.
Veronica doesn't agree with me. Come on in here, Veronica, and say to me why women shouldn't compete.
Low self-esteem. I think that low self-esteem, by definition, leads you to compete.
Yes.
Say more.
Amen.
Not a woman that actually is madly and deeply in love with herself feels like she has to compete to get a man. She just puts himself in the way of beautiful men, and they come and pounce on her like a sweet little bunny rabbit that she is.
Like a sweet little
Pounce.
bunny rabbit. Oh, bunny.
Yes.
But Veronica, you are actually buttressing my point. Most people are not madly in love with themselves. Thus, they are in.
Security is
Veronica, you got to let me finish, and then I'm going to make space for you, baby. Okay? Most people are not in the mental space you're in. So most people only understand what we're describing right now, and that is the gauntlet. There are a lot of people out there suffering from depression. There are a lot of people out there suffering from unresolved traumatic experiences that they've had in their relationships. One of the biggest repellent of good men is defensiveness.
Say
So
that.
all I'm saying to you, Veronica, is I'm not saying you're incorrect in your description and the reality of what you're saying. You're absolutely right. When you're 100% in love with yourself, booyah, you're going to magnetize all different walks, all different types, all different vibrations of really high quality, good men. I agree with you.
Yep.
But let me say this. Let me add this as a caveat. There's a book I tell people to go get all the time, Power versus Force. You know this book, Veronica, by Dr. David Hawkins, PhD. Go get that book. In that book, you know, white people crazy. They be creating all type of graphs and stats to measure spirituality, which fundamentally I don't agree with. I don't think you can measure spirit. I don't, you know, but that's another conversation. But in his book, I thought it was audacious, but for the sake of making a point of how rare one coming face to face with love is, whether it's the unconditional love of oneself or the ability to love other people. In that book, he said, there's 7 billion people on planet Earth and climbing. He said only 0.4% of the planet rises to the vibratory energy of unconditional love. He created a graph that said 0 to 50, that vibration is grief, right? And then he goes he goes higher and higher from grief to anger, from anger to pride, from pride. He goes higher and higher and higher. By the time he gets to fucking 540, which is unconditional love and joy and all of that stuff, 500 is love, 540 is joy. He said by the time you get up there, 0.4% of the population ever experienced that. Ever. So I'm not saying it's an impossibility. What I'm saying is for the majority of people who experience life on planet Earth, love is one of the most difficult experiences they could go through because most people are fucking desperate. Most people don't know how to discharge trauma. Most people don't know how to cut cords. Most people don't know how to cleanse heart chakras. Most people don't know this stuff. They just pack up whatever they can and move forward. Thinking moving forward is moving on. Speak to that, Veronica.
I think you're absolutely right. And yet and still, if there is going to be a new paradigm on the planet, especially for black people who are recovering from 400 to 500 years of utter emotional and psychological annihilation in this country, then we better start to have some new sense of possibility rather than recycling our same old wounds and our same old trauma. Because if we keep doing the ones that we have inherited, we will continue to get the same results, and we will be left behind in the 21st century. So if we don't get this straight, we ain't gonna get it straight.
That's why I'm pressuring you, Veronica, to come down here with the mortals, Raiden.
Bring it on down, girl.
and help them cross the bridge from mediocrity to possibility.
Yeah.
So here we are. Ladies, what are your biggest flaws?
That was funny.
Who in the hell are you pushing away? Because you scared, because you're defensive, because you're protecting a wound. Veronica said the shit so motherfucking eloquently on one show. She simply said people are dating to get their wounds met. Now, that's 98% of the population of planet Earth. I want to know, women, let's just say this. Couldn't the thought, because here's one of those, I believe, unrealistic beliefs. You guys can check me on this. Women believe the right man is supposed to come get them. They kicking it, waiting on him to show up as if they ain't got no work to do. As if they come pre-packaged, already ready and assembled from Mr. Right. Tell me I'm bullshitting.
That's stupid. And my thing is too, I'm sorry, ladies, like we really do that. And what is the sign? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a bow? Does he come with a big red bow is really what I want to know. Like, how are you supposed to know that maybe Lamer McLamerson was your Mr. Right, but you think that you're better than everybody else walking around with your nose in the air and you missed out, bro. I'm just going to be 1,000. Not everybody can get that one.
I hate that I have to agree with that. I actually have a family member. She's a little overweight. She's gorgeous, though. She has an okay job, she's decent. But if you were to ask her what kind of man she wants this in shape Fortune 500 type of guy.
Right.
And it's like, well, damn, can you at least be half of that?
What are you bringing to, like, my thing is, what are you bringing to?
Can you be half of that is genius.
At least.
Look, I'm just like, what are you... You can't just bring your pussy to the table and think that that's okay.
Shit.
It's not.
A lot of women believe that
that's
pussy is the passport to happis.
That is insane to me. That's a shit. Mike, you think
that's exhausting?
That's too. I'm sorry. Like my shit is pretty cool. I'm thinking, but
here we go.
I mean,
Listen, we got to take a quick break, but when we come back, man, we're off to a great start. Phone lines are open, 844-55-1. True or false regarding rigid rulemaking and standards? When we act on rules based on our past, we can create a perpetual cycle of disappointing relationships. Yeah. If your rules and standards are based on unresolved issues, the cycle Veronica was talking about earlier, you perpetuate it, don't you? Ugh. I just want to see women. I want to see how brave you are. We're going to open up the phone lines, 844-55-1. When we come back, we're going to callers. Get at us. Yeah. We back in the building. Y'all scared. I never thought that the women of this show would be afraid. I'm not talking about my co-hosts.
We ain't afraid.
They've been quite
we ain't never
candid.
Scared.
Well, that's not necessary.
I'm
not
never
today.
scared.
Yeah. They've been quite candid, but the ladies who listen, I mean, I see you guys tweeting on Facebook, or on Twitter, but you guys are afraid to call. Have negative relationship experiences left you with a really bad, bitter, butthurt attitude?
Oh, shit.
Is your attitude keeping him away? Do most women think Mr. Right is supposed to come to them as opposed to ladies going after him?
Ooh.
I mean, are you just sitting back waiting on him because Reverend Porkchop said you should wait? Right? True or false? Most women lack self-esteem, often leads to fear of competing. Ladies, how does a woman's low self-esteem sabotage her love life? Ladies, how is a fear of intimacy sabotaging your love life? A lot of people don't want to feel, don't want to get that close. Veronica, can you describe what fear of intimacy really is? Can you help us understand what that is?
Well, at its very essence, and this is going to sound, I think, a little bit counterintuitive, but it is the way it works in the energy world. When a woman is accessing her love, her natural spiritual energy, as it comes up from her vagina and her like tailbone up to her heart and up into her crown chakra, that energy is her life force. It's both sexual, it creates love, it carries love in it, it carries healing in it, it carries all this stuff. And women are trained to suppress that life force. In other words, because if we actually allow that to flow, then we become sexually. And when we become like sexual and wildly sexual and without inhibition. But we're trained to suppress that energy so much. And so oftentimes when a woman comes into contact with a man that can now allow that to free up, where she gets excited and feels sexual and feels love and feels all those feelings, a lot of times women will push that energy down so that they don't have to feel the risk of pain and hurt. So it really is the energy of it all that she's suppressing, and what she's really suppressing is her own life force. And the more that she does that, the more dysfunctional she becomes.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Let me
I
ask.
can think of some times that I've probably done that.
I definitely have.
Do you guys know of women who commit too soon in new relationships? Do you know women who give up the yoni as some type of incentive, almost like, okay, if I give it up, he'll give me love? You know, women have sex for love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like in exchange.
I feel like that's most women.
Oh, God. See, this is what I wanted to hear. Speak on that.
I feel like that's literally probably like 80 to 90% of women that I know. I mean, Ashonti?
That's a high number, but I will say that I've even had stages in my life where I've felt like that. And it was because that's the only way that I could feel anything was by having an orgasm. I don't know if it's 80, 90%, but I do know that a lot of women probably go through that as well.
Yeah, like I think during the break we were talking about, people giving up their good cookies, thinking that that's going to keep a man or even having a baby because everybody's thirsting for all of this affection, but everybody's too scared to actually like really be about it.
Listen, if mama is beyond reproach, what makes you think daughter gonna think she's any different?
That's what I'm saying. This is all learned.
If mama is beyond reproach. So right off the top, we have a cultural programming that says women are right. So if you think you're right from the jump in all aspects, you think you deserve Mr. Right because ain't nothing wrong with you. Am I bullshitting, Veronica? Ashanti?
Yeah, he's not bullshitting.
Somewhat. Yeah. I mean, you're not bullshitting, but it's kind of sounds a little like bullshit.
Well, just expound. This is an opportunity.
Okay, so let me back it up a little bit. I think the base of the women that we're talking about right now are insecure women or women that have things that they need to deal with that they're refusing to deal with. Okay, those are the type of women that I feel like we're talking about. More times than not, those women from the jump feel like they're wrong. I don't think they feel good enough about themselves to feel like they're right. So I think those type of women approach situations a lot differently. I think it's easier to control a woman like that, to be honest. I think the women that actually have things going on with themselves are the ones that feel like they're always right.
Interesting.
You know what? I wanted to hop back a few.
Get in there, and then I'm going back to Veronica.
Yeah, you had said something earlier about women sitting around waiting for Mr. Right to pop up and just be there for them because we think that we're already ready. But I literally because I'm a lioness, I guess, if you would.
Wow.
I always have, in any time if I see something that I like, I go after it. So like I'm usually the one who's like, hey, I like you, boy. Come here to me.
Come hither.
Come here. Like, so if I like you, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you. And it literally scared most men that I do that to.
They can't handle it.
They can't handle it, and they run away. That's literally what my repellent.
Shit.
Like,
now we cooking.
Let's heat up the pan.
Because Whitney just said men can't handle feminine truth.
Real life.
Is that what Whitney is saying, Veronica?
Past 5 years.
Damn.
Even my husband said it. Ex-husband.
If men can't handle feminine truth, if it's really hyper feminine, I think men love feminine truth. If it's wrapped in really feminine energy, I don't know.
Whoa. Slow down. I got to stop you now. Slow down. When it's wrapped in feminine energy, go deeper. Say more.
Yeah. So, a man loves to be met with a woman that is in a feminine polarity, and so she's soft and she's receptive and she's an availability to him, and so
yes.
I mean, I've had and hear all kinds of wild ass direct truths, but the energy that's wrapped around it. In other words, when there's a lot of energy wrapped around your communication, when you're talking from your pussy, like men hear it and it registers as truth with them, right? It registers as truth because it's so.
So this is good. No, Veronica, this is good. I have to direct you in this way because you're right at the precipice of something big. So, what is the opposite of talking from your pussy? Because now we about to get right into why these motherfuckers is running men off cliffs. So speak into that, please.
I think it's two things. I think it's the woman's predisposition to brace, and you call it defensiveness. It's like to brace against the world, to brace against the man, to brace, and that is fundamentally an effortful masculine posture. Whenever a woman is operating in that space, then nothing a man can say can resonate with her or register. He can't drop anything into her pool.
Wow.
Right? He can't drop anything into her. And the other piece of it is, I've talked about this before, but it's worth mentioning in this context, which is when women have been, when they've had a lot of trauma in how they've connected their sexuality and their love, and where they've learned that their love wasn't enough, where they couldn't just ask for sex because it meant that they were a whore. All these places where she moves into shame and fear and doubt, all of that would create an energetic encasement around her heart that is like lead. It's energetically like lead. And until you engage with a man that has enough firepower in his penis and in his spiritual field, that sits there. And what happens is when that case is there, she manipulates to get love, not forgetting that she is love and that her heart chakra, that whole space is the vibration of love if it's activated correctly. But so she becomes a manipulation as opposed to a true embodiment and receptor of and a giver of love. Where
man,
flow. And there's no need for anything in return.
I don't know.
No need for anything in return, just love.
I don't know if you guys are really hearing what Veronica is saying. But y'all can disagree all you want. Get to your phone lines, 844-55-1. Y'all can disagree all you want. Veronica just described 98% of all women on planet Earth.
Damn.
I'm walking around like that.
Now, let me just...
I was walking around like that. It was horrible.
Let me just flip it, too. It's not that 98% of men are vibrating on this high level either, right? What it is with regards to the genders, male and female, you have train wrecks that are designed to crash into each other in order to elevate to the level that Veronica is talking about. That's what all these relationships are. They are predestined train wrecks. I know it's ugly. I know it's ugly.
You gotta do it. You gotta work through it to
All
get
of
to
them?
the other side.
Man, Kool Mo D said some shit one day. He always says stuff that's crazy. He was like, women are by definition very hard-headed.
Oh, yeah.
He says because as soft as they are is as rigid as they can be. He said, remember, emotions are represented by water, and water can freeze and be as hard as steel.
You ain't never lied.
And so he said, so when it comes to a woman's ambition in relationship, sometimes she has to crash into the flaws that are in that belief system. You can't explain the flaws to her because she believes in it too deeply. So you got to get out of the way and let her smash head on into it and be broken down in order to get her breakthrough. It's kind of fucked up. But who
Real.
Veronica, do you disagree with that?
No, that's real. That's real. I mean, I can't tell you personally how many, wherever you go, there you are. I can't tell you how many conundrums and kerfuffles and hijinks that I cracked into that were completely of my own doing until somebody really peeped me to the real game.
So I have a question for Zoe. Mm-hmm. How do you relate that to a father-daughter relationship?
How do I relate what to a father-daughter?
Basically, a woman needing to crash and burn before she learns her lesson.
Well, here's the thing. It depends on the caliber of the father, I think.
So can you also say it depends on the caliber of the man that the woman is dealing with?
And here's the thing. There is no, like I always say, for every question, there are infinite right answers and infinite wrong answers. So let me just give you a couple of answers that I believe to be right. Number one, the child is on, the moment it is brought here, or even before it was brought here, the child is on its own journey. Right? Delivered to parents as stewards. In other words, the child doesn't belong to the parents. The parents are stewards of the child, like training wheels for life until the child can go on and realize its purpose. That's number one. Number two, the father-daughter dynamic. Dads are designed to teach daughters boundaries, right? Don't be all up under random niggas' nuts, right? Daughters love dads first. That's the first masculine energy they love.
First boyfriend.
So it's the first boyfriend, and
it is
right. It's the first protector. It's all of that. Now, daughters learn a lot from dads in terms of, like I said, boundaries. They learn how to carry themselves. They learn how to feel safe around masculine energy. With dads and brothers and uncles. They learn safetiness within the halo of masculine energy from dads. Now, if dad is toxic, the daughter is going to be toxic in terms of how she chooses to relate to men, because she was taught toxicity from the father. So when she goes out, promise you this, she's going to date a variation or a facet of who her father is, right? The same is true, right? The same is true because she's her mom too. So when you're dating a woman that came out of a situation that was dysfunctional, that was broken, that was traumatic, you're dating two facets. You're dating the facet of the father, his participation in that dysfunction, and you're dating the facet of the mother, her participation in that dysfunction, unified in the child. That's what you're dating. And the purpose of dating for that person, I'm talking about the daughter, is to reconcile the dysfunction. Now, that's just talking about the daughter. We could say the same thing about the boy, the son, coming from another two parents to come meet this girl. It's really about the reconciliation of the pain or trauma you've been through. That is the core of relationship.
Crazy. You know what you said earlier, I've used, back when I was younger, I would compare, that's another thing that women do to push, I guess, dudes away, is I would be like, yo, this dude is weak. He's nothing like my brothers. He's nothing like my dad. Like, you're not a real man to me because you don't know how to dunk, you can't change a tire, and you don't know how to load your own gun. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, literally, those are the things that my dad and my brothers can do. So it's like, I would use those man qualities as my boy picker, I guess you would say. But I was already hurt. You know what I mean? Like, I was already in my own trauma, so I'm using, like, man. And that's the thing is, there's a lack of those type of men in the world now because there's a lot of...
So let me ask you this. When do you guys grow up and not all mothers are like this. Let me just say this. Not all mothers are bad mothers. Okay? But Veronica, Whitney, Ashonti, I want to know, like, at what point do you recognize, damn, 65% of what my mother was saying came out of trauma that she went through? Damn. 60.
Ooh, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, damn, most of what my mother was telling me as good advice was really some hurtful shit, some defensive shit she was trying to prevent me from going through because she hasn't reconciled it. At what point do you say, Mom, thanks, but no thanks? Ashonti?
So for me, I'll get a little personal with it. My mom was raped by her mom's boyfriends. And crazy enough, she attracted this crazy pedophile guy. She was like 37 and he was like 17. So she would have me and my sisters like wear smocks around the house and all this shit to cover up our bodies, which at a really young age made us extremely like body conscious and almost insecure. So anyways, moving forward, my dad ended up putting me into counseling to try to unwind some of the shit that my mom put into me. So I think that it's definitely a necessity to kind of dig back. What is it called? Sankofa? Dig back to figure out your future. Yeah. It's a necessity.
Man, I know the exact age. I was 22.
Thank you for that, Ashonti.
Yeah.
That was deep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
22. I was 22 years old when I finally was like, Mom. But I told her, look, respectfully, I'm gonna have to tell you what you're saying is dumb as hell. I'm sorry, love ya, but
Whitney.
I was 22 years old when I finally realized, because there's a level when with adulthood that you're always told what everything your parents say is the 100% truth. That's right. So you were born into that, so that's what you think. I was 22 years old and I got into a pretty nice discussion with my mother, and what she's saying just did not make sense. So I finally had to let her know, okay, well, I'm an adult now, and what you're saying sounds retarded, and I just can't go with this.
My mom would still beat my ass today.
No, and she, I mean, obviously it was not a nice little conversation. It definitely caused a rift between us, even still low key to this day, but it needed to happen. And then honestly, last year it happened with my dad, who my dad was like the man in my eyes. You know what I mean? He could do no wrong. I finally had that moment where it was like, okay, you know what, Dad? Love you, respect you, but I'm gonna have to respectfully tell you what you're saying I don't agree with anymore because I'm an adult, I'm myself. So there's levels to that. And obviously in your healing process, you have to do that. Like,
So, Veronica, I need you to do us a favor really quickly. I need you to walk people through because what we've just learned is our phone lines are down. Something is happening with our server. So a lot of people are trying to call in. They just can't get through. So for everybody that's listening, I want you guys to listen to Veronica right now. She's going to give you tips on how to fire your mom. How to fire your mother and father as advisors.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things to do.
yeah, it definitely is.
Veronica, give them tips really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had to do that. I was born into so much dysfunction that if I didn't go in and deconstruct myself and reconstruct myself on some foundational realities, some spiritual realities that actually would serve me, I would have lost my mind. Because I had experienced way too much trauma. So I put myself in very deep dive, immersive environments to do that. But one of the things that I came to understand is you do not reach emotional adulthood until you have the capacity to fire your parents. And what I mean by that is our parents are the ones that we see as God. When we come here, because they protect us, we see them as God. And so we grow up believing everything that they say and everything that they do because we model them. At some point, you have to understand that respect and belief in them are not the same thing. You can respect them even at a distance and still understand that their ideas are faulty. And so when their ideas are faulty enough that they become a conflict in your life, when the relationship becomes a conflict in their life, where they can't respect your boundaries and tell the truth, when their negativity is an interference, then I say you have to fire them because energetically because we think of them as being, sort of our gods, until we do that, we will always walk around the world asking for permission from the world, always tolerating what happens wrong in the world. So until we fire them, we don't get any real emotional adulthood or autonomy. When you do that, it's one of the most powerful things I've ever done.
Wow.
How do you mentally do that?
You don't need anybody else's approval either. You don't need anybody else's approval ever again when you have the courage to fire a dysfunctional parent.
Wow. And
you never need anybody to be looking at.
And here's the thing on top of that. There's a sliding scale here. You fire your parent, you find liberation, right? You find your voice, right? I always tell people, go get the book, right? Knowledge, what is it? It's a book by Krishnamurti, Education and the Significance of Life by J. Krishnamurti. Get that book and read it 80 times. When my son was in the 5th grade, I made him read the book. And he was having an issue with a teacher. And then I love my oldest. He highlighted a passage in the book and gave it to the teacher. And the teacher was offended than a motherfucker.
Of course.
Because the passage says the exact same thing Veronica just said about your parents. Parents being teachers.
Oh, shit.
So Krishnamurti said it another way. He says, first off, a teacher is unfit to teach if he has not reconciled his inner issues. If you put a teacher in front of students who hasn't reconciled his inner issues, Krishnamurti says he is a danger to the teacher, to the children he's teaching. That is the same thing with parents. If parents haven't reconciled, this is why parents live through their children vicariously. Because whatever marks they didn't hit or whatever plateaus they didn't reach, they try to impose that upon the child. That is a form of abuse. Now, this carries on into your relationships. How you choose the person you want to be with, how you interface with that person, your conflict resolution package, style, that all comes from them. Now, until you can say, wait a minute, this is all faulty. This is Windows 3.1. Shit. I'm a supercomputer running on DOS. What?
DOS.
Dial-up.
I got DOS from mom and dad. Relationship DOS. I mean, it's bullshit. But hey, like Veronica said, you're not an adult until you challenge that shit. So,
yep.
And listen, because we can't get you on the phone lines, just hit me on Twitter with your comments. We're going to take a quick break, but when I come back, I'm going to read Twitter comments. So get to Twitter at ZoWilliams right now. Hit me with your tweets. Ladies, what are your handles? They're going to hit y'all too. What's your handles?
Mine is at Miss Taber. That's MSTABER. Twitter.
At Ashonti Ford Live.
Veronica?
Veronica Conway.
At Veronica Conway. Hit us with your comments. We're going to respond when we come back. Man, this show is pretty crazy. We'll be back at 2.2. Yo, man, we just had a nice little cozy musical vibe going. It was important that we did it. I mean, because it's a heavy, heavy topic, man. You're listening to The Voice of Reason on Hot Button Radio. This is Dash Radio, the incredible new network put together by DJ Ski. Of course, Hot Button Radio is the talk branch network here on Dash Radio. Hot Button is just that. Hot Button topics. Today's no different. Today's topic is crazy, by the way. You know, I mean, and let me just give the women credit here. I mean, you guys have been, you know, incredibly candid and open and personal and just sharing a whole bunch of stuff. You know, today's topic is talking about some of the negative beliefs that women hold that actually keep them single, that actually repel, you know, masculine energy or men or good men or Mr. Right or whatever. And, you know, some of the stuff we were talking about, is firing your parents and the belief system, that they've installed into you. I mean, it's been crazy. Can anybody here really disagree that in Africa, America might be a patriarchy, but the African American community is definitely a matriarchy? And if it's a matriarchy, and we've already just surmised in terms of numbers, if we want to be just modest, we could say 50% are dealing with like high levels of dysfunction, right? But if that's the case, I mean, we can't even get to this next question until all that other stuff that we talked about earlier has been resolved. The next question, which is ugly, gosh. I mean, I want the ladies to listen to this objectively and then try the best to, speak on it. Thank you. I'm sorry. Try their best to speak on it. Listen to this question. What bad character traits would you tolerate? And we're going to get into tolerance versus acceptance. But what bad character traits would you tolerate from a good man? Veronica, are you there? VC, do we have her? Can you check and make sure we got VC? We don't want to lose VC. Veronica?
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
Yes, I'm here.
But do you understand what I'm saying, how I framed that? Like, we talked about all of this stuff, that could potentially be the reason for why women have broken boy pickers, or they have these limiting, like you do these, belief busters and all of this stuff, right? Where you go in and you break down negative and limiting beliefs, right? We talked about all of the stuff that could be the reason for why women can push away a good man or run away a good man. But until all of those things are dealt with, we can't even get to the answer for this question. What bad character traits would you tolerate from a good man? I mean, how many good men have been ran away because your unresolved traumatic issues haven't been dealt with?
Man, let me tell you.
Shit.
I'm like, I've been at the point in my life where I've been like, you know what? Nope. You light skin with one green eye, you got to go. And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, yeah.
One green eye.
One green eye. Get out of here. I don't even know. Like literally appearances. Sometimes I feel like a lot of them. I don't date this kind. I don't date chocolate brother. What? Why? Oh, I don't date. Okay, because one guy one time screwed you up. You sound dumb. Sound dumb.
In terms of what bad character traits I would accept from a good man, like if he was a really good man and the sex was just okay, I would be willing to work with him.
I'm with that. I could do that. We can
it
work on that.
It can't be terrible, but if it's okay and you're a good man, we could work on it.
Well, and together we can make it better.
Right.
We can learn. There's books. There's
VC's like, I need that good D off top.
VC, step on it. Step on it.
VC, how come? Why? Explain, VC. Explain.
Why? Because I think that it's. Okay, so watch this. I think, and by the way, I mean, I would, if a man wasn't sexing correctly, then I would certainly introduce him to the master of the universe around teaching sexuality, which is Nechama. So I'm open to that. I'd be open to that for him. But to me, if he's dysfunctional in that regard, it points to a whole set of dysfunctions in him. The same way that if a woman is dysfunctional sexually, it ends up leaking out as personality traits. So if he's dysfunctional that way, there's something. There tends to be bitch energy running in him. He tends to have unresolved mama issues. That he tends to be toxic. He tends to feel guilty, maybe about the size of his member or his lack of. I don't know. I find that if you step over that ultimately you will find deeper inside is a set of personality characteristics that you cannot tolerate. So I do not tolerate that sex. No.
Long story short, no bad D for VC.
Sorry, no bad D for VC. That's it.
Well, then now you have to invert, and then this is going to make you look. This is going to make women look kind of strange here. Now you got to invert it, because the invert would be bad dude, great dick.
See, I won't do that because emotionally, I'm not even going to be able to be turned on by you like that. I'm not going to have that drive to have sex with you if you're treating me like shit. You're not getting no pussy.
Right.
Well,
Hell no.
well,
Nope, not me.
I don't know. Look, I'm like, you know what?
And then I don't want to be caught up with a dude that is a not shit dude because if he has good dick, you're going to be dickmatized.
Dickmatized.
And it's going to take you forever to get out of the trance.
Don't,
I hope everybody is
don't
listening.
get dickmatized.
I hope all the men are paying attention.
Now they're all gonna be like working on their dick game and being bad.
No.
No, I mean,
Not
they're
for me.
what they're doing is they're listening to your honest responses,
Real life, though.
and then they're understanding. Maybe this is a conversation they've never had, or maybe these aren't questions that they've never asked. So to hear you guys answer these questions in the way that you're doing it is providing a service to people that are listening. So I think that's awesome.
Can I?
Yes, you can. Go ahead, VC.
I just think that, oh shoot, I guess it's my train of thought. I had a train of thought and I lost it.
I want to ask the question again. What bad character traits minus dick would you tolerate from a good man?
Right. Can I speak to that?
Go ahead, VC.
Okay, so that's why you wait. We talked about this on the other show the other day, which is you don't wait because you're trying to give him the impression that you're some kind of a good girl. You wait and get to know a man. I've learned this the hard way because you're listening for his level of sanity, quite frankly, and his level of adulthood, emotion. I'm going to say especially emotional adulthood. His capacity to interact with you and still let you be absolutely free, right? And or whether his insecure and's got to hold on to you. So I think the reason sometimes to wait and do the get to know process is because you're feeling for his truth. You're feeling for his truth, and so if you are feeling for that, then you know he's crazy before he puts the dick.
But wait a minute, Veronica. You're right, but you're skipping past a crucial point.
These niggas is actors out here. We
Let
don't
me
always know.
Let me just say,
so good.
can an insane ear hear sanity?
No, and it can't hear insanity either.
Shit. So you see what I'm saying? Like, if you're insane to begin with, you can't even begin to say, I'm listening for his sanity.
No, you can't hear the difference. That's true. You cannot hear the difference.
Damn, that's
true.
can't even keep
That's
up
true.
with this. There's so much insane stuff happening. I don't even know what's happening.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're missing a key part. That's why I said, before all the other stuff we talked about in the first hour is dealt with and you're clear of it,
I'm doing it good then.
right? You have to be clear of all that other stuff. Mom, dad, bad relationships, hurt, trauma, breakups, cheating, all the other stuff. You have to be totally free of the residue of that. Let me go back to Krishnamurti. He said something very positive, very powerful. He always says heavy shit to me. Krishnamurti said, listen, the word experience means, and he's speaking from an etymological space, not the Webster's dictionary. He's talking about the root of the word, its origin, its connotation, its denotation, not its connotation. The word experience means to go through. Like a tunnel, to go through something and come out on the other end. Now, Krishnamurti added a twist and said, now, can you come out on the other end of a hurtful relationship experience without the residue of that experience still on you? Most people can't do that. So we can't even get back to the question, because this is a real question. What will you tolerate or accept from a good man that is considered negative or that is considered one of his challenges or something he has to overcome? If you haven't overcome all this other whirlwind of shit, the residue is still on you, you can't even answer that question.
Whitney.
I had to, I'm feeling it, because I'm gonna be 1,000 with you guys, like I always am. I am going through this process, literally everything VC and Zo just said. Last year, my dad, I was like, Pops, hey, I appreciate you, bro, but you talking crazy now. You know what I mean? Like literally everything that you guys are outlining. Like I haven't been in a relationship for 5 years for a reason. Like I could have been, but I'm not. I don't want that.
You don't want to be in a relationship?
Not when I was dealing with all this bullshit. See, I tried to edit it. I tried to edit it, and then I just kept going.
Bullshitocracy?
The shit. But no, like I had many of opportunities in these past years to have a relationship, but I pushed them away, repelled, like we're talking about today, on purpose, because I knew I needed to get through my own issues before I'm ready to really be on some real life stuff.
Yeah.
You know
so
what?
That's why I'm like, dang, man, I'm feeling good.
So now you're ready.
Now.
Ronan Martin.
Boo, where you at?
Ronan Martin just said something that was really heavy. He was saying now he's starting to see chinks in the intuition argument for women. And I'm going to say, we talked about a lot of stuff that you go through in the first hour. Mm-hmm. Intuition is still there. Intuition is still powerful. It's just that when you don't have the conflict resolution skills or the problem solving skills, sometimes it's just easier to ignore your intuition. And a lot of women do that in favor of emotion, right? And what I mean by emotion, a good feeling one. Sometimes getting fucked, women will fuck a problem away, at least momentarily. That's what men and women share.
I think that's, yeah.
The rich man and the poor man share the orgasm. They both can come. And in that nanosecond of cumdom, there's freedom, right? Because what does the orgasm represent? It represents death. Death and life happening at the same time. That's when everything just doesn't matter. That's when it's there. And poor and wealthy can experience that. So when you have all of these other things happening in your life, this whirlwind of trauma, of anger, of frustration, in that moment, you get to disappear. And the moment is fleeting, but you can reset that moment and go find someone else to start it over with. Do you understand what I'm saying, Veronica?
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. Can I offer a resource in this regard that I think is one of the most powerful books on the planet for really understanding the nature of relationship, and that is called Love and Interconnection by Carol K. Anthony. Love and Interconnection. You can actually get it free, I think, on Kindle if you have Kindle, the subscription thing. And one of the things that she talks about is it's a book. It's not an I Ching oracle itself, but it refers to the I Ching, which is a 4,000-year-old divination tool, older than the Bible, quote unquote. And it talks about when you fall in love, what happens is your ego is temporarily placed into shock. Right? The ego is placed into shock, and all of the defenses that you have been walking around with suddenly go away, and then you have this recognition of the beloved, right? You have this recognition like, oh my God, that's my mate, that's my person, that's my, right? Because the ego just gets displaced temporarily, and then slowly over time, the ego creeps back in and begins to have its demand, its insistence that things go its way, its need to be coddled and babied, its need to always be approved of, and it becomes more demanding. It becomes like a baby that begins to take over. And this book is about learning how to be in that conversation up front, even if you're madly, deeply, passionately in love, how to begin to have the conversation that doesn't create agreement between the partners' egos. It's one of the best. It's a heavy book. It's simple to read, but it's one of the most powerful books I've ever seen that addresses that phenomenon that you're talking about, Zo.
You know what? Another great book, you just brought it to mind. Guilt is the Teacher, Love is the Lesson by Joan Borysenko, PhD. Joan, Joan.
We got like 6 books that we got to
book
get
club,
right.
I'm writing them all down.
Senko. Borysenko, Borysyenko, PhD. Guilt is the teacher, love is the lesson. When I do my coaching, this is the first book I tell people to go get, because it deals with a lot of that cleansing work, a lot of that forgiveness work, a lot of that healing work, a lot of that internal, introspective, hard work that must be done. You have to jettison all of the relationship debris that is bogging down your ability to really interface and connect with somebody. Because otherwise, what people are dating is a coping mechanism. That's what people are. They're dating a coping mechanism. They're dating a projection of who you think you are. They're dating a representative. They're dating all types of shit that keeps them away from the thing that you need healed. Now remember, relationship is a hospital for the soul. But your ass is in the goddamn waiting room. You afraid to go on in there and have surgery. Get your ass into a relationship, get vulnerable, and allow this shit to come to the surface so it can be reconciled. Most of you don't want to do that. You know, I'm here to work. I'm a candy striper. I'm a nurse. No, your ass is a patient. And you need to come on in here and get that work. But a lot of people don't want to get that work, man. And listen, let me just say this. At 44 years old, I'm not an old man, right? But I'm old enough to know, like, the more you learn, the less you know, right? The more you learn, the more doors open up, right? And the more you learn about yourself, the better able you are to relate to other people. That's what I do know definitively, if I know anything at all, right? So what I tend to try to do is, and sometimes people might get upset with me, I do it in a harsh way. I can be harsh. I can be very harsh, you know. I'm like, sometimes I come in here dressed like a coach, right? I got
all the time. Auburn, what up?
Listen, I need you to run that L out pattern, okay? You're not cutting hard enough on the hash line, okay?
Pick and roll, you and Whit. Pick and roll this.
Pick and roll, okay? I want you to work off the center. As soon as you come off his shoulder, the pass is going to be waiting for you, all right?
If you talk like that, it would actually be cooler.
Bro, I can't do I like Coach Zoe voice better.
No, right, but you should do the Coach Zoe voice.
You know, but I'm harsh and I'm a stickler. Like, you guys experience the fun side of it, but they experience the taskmaster. They experience the guy who's on their fucking heads about everything.
Literally.
So, everything.
Okay, they just literally they chime in.
It's literally heavy. Like, I can't even.
But I will say this. When you go into relationship and you go into it thinking that Mr. Right or Mrs. Right creates, you know, this paradise kind of environment, it's just not true. It's not what the situation is designed for. Relationship is designed to heal what you're afraid to face. That's what it's for. And I'm talking about, this is what I'm saying. Like, in a real world, and this is why people get mad at me. You're anti-marriage. You don't believe in marriage. No, I just think marriage has taken on such a social and business angle that the spiritual university that it is has lost its meaning. Right? This is why you can have a TV show called fucking Bridezilla, where women get to behave badly with attitude and dickassery just for the sake of their ceremony, their wedding day. This is why in America, there's no accident that the fucking divorce rate is so goddamn high. There's no accident that if you put the 10 to 12% of legal separations on top of the divorce rate, it's well over 60%. There's no accident. There's no accident that relationships are ending in record numbers. People are opting out of marriage. There's no accident because of that. You know why? Because it's all business. It's all quite sterile, right? It's all family court and child support and alimony and jail, and it's all bullshit. Because we've turned it into a business when it's actually a spiritual institution for the revelation of who you really are as a spiritual being.
Dang.
You can't get that until you see that in somebody else. In every situation, in your work relationships, in your intimate relationships, in your friendships, if you're not seeing God, you're a fraud. You're living a false life, because if you can't see God, that means you're not really open and showing your true self to whoever you're interfacing with.
There it is.
Now, am I saying go show yourself to everybody? Why not?
Why not?
What would it hurt? Veronica, what would that hurt?
What, to show yourself to everybody, to be transparent and be free? Yeah. I think that the more you do the work, and I'm glad that you keep emphasizing the work, though, because it really is the work. It's a lifelong journey of deconstructing this shit. And the more trauma you've had, the more work it is to deconstruct it. And it's just the way it is. And you know, but I think that the more you do that, the more you reconcile yourself, the more you come to peace. See, when I talk about firing parents, it's not about to be mean to them or disrespectful to them. It's about creating an atmosphere of peace and being non-negotiable that you will have peace in your life, right? Because the more peace you have in your life, the more you can manifest, you can generate. It comes from a place of peace. So I think that the more transparent we become, and because the more we face our fears, the more we realize there's nothing to fear. So the more we fall in love with ourselves, because we realize there's no there, and that all the things that we walk around wanting to hide are really just boogeymen. And so falling in love with yourself is, by definition, squaring off with your fears. And the more you do that, the more transparent you become, and the less ability anybody has to hurt you.
Wow. But if you're so busy trying to block hurt, hurt gets stronger.
That's right.
You empower hurt when you avoid hurt. Listen, avoiding hurt is like avoiding that conversation you're supposed to have. You know, they talk about the communication styles, right? They say collaborative, cooperative, combative, competitive, and then there's avoidant. And they break down the avoidant communication style as one that creates conflict because you keep avoiding the issue that needs to be discussed. Avoidance locks into tolerance. People always say, oh, you have to tolerate this. No, fuck tolerance. Tolerance is a low level, just like change is not transformation. See, we can change superficially, but transformation is internal. Well, same with tolerance versus acceptance. You can only tolerate some shit so long before you pop off. That's what I call the volcano effect in the relationship dismount. The volcano effect is pressure is building because you're tolerating. And all tolerance has a time limit. But acceptance is, boom, I accept you for who and what you are. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. I have adjusted my expectations to fit what I accept you to be. What I know you to be. But most people can't get there because they're always in pursuit of their desire, what they want. And this puts them in the positionality of entitlement. I'm going to sit back and wait for Mr. Right. Because that's what the church, that's what mama, God, everybody said. I'm supposed to wait for him to show up and scoop me up on an all-white horse. He going to have on shining armor that isn't tarnished. He's going to be flying in him. That don't happen.
Nah.
That don't happen. I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent.
No,
My
it was
grandmother.
a great tangent.
Yeah, it was a good tangent though.
I need to
Good job.
Couple clappers, man.
My grandfather
I hope you guys
used
are
to
writing
tell,
this down. Sorry,
I know.
because he's really speaking the truth.
My grandmother used to tell the girls in our family that we can't wait for Mr. Right because he's going to be stuck up in a tree somewhere, like our Prince Charming. So we would definitely have to be the ones to seek him out.
Excuse me, sir.
Right. She used to say that all the time.
So
Makes so much
You know,
sense.
it's funny. I feel like men do kind of the opposite. We sit here and wait, but men grab one, like, she cool, she all right. Let me grab her and wait for Mrs. a little bit righter to come around the corner.
Miss a little bit righter.
And then, okay, let me
True
grab
story.
her and then push this. Okay, you're cool. We did our thing, but I got Keisha. She got a bigger booty than you, and she doing it. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like dudes do the opposite of us, but.
Listen, if you don't see God, you're not in a relationship.
Boom.
what does that mean if you don't see God? If all you see is his degree or his job or his car or what kind of family he comes from, you're not relating.
Right.
Krishnamurti, I hate to beat a dead horse. Go buy his 400 books. He says, listen, communication is not talking at each other. Communication is really communion, where when you speak, I am what you say. Right? That goes into empathy. That goes into active listening. Nobody is doing that.
Nope.
Relationship is a game worse than fucking Monopoly.
It's really annoying.
It's a game. We've trivialized it. We've made relationship as trivial as God. Right? God is a bastardized term. Love is a bastardized term. Respect is a bastardized term. We are mediocre-minded people bumping into each other, avoiding the lessons that brought us together in the first place. Whew. That's what the fuck is happening. I mean, you know, we didn't get no caller, so I got the chance to talk to that. I'm just saying.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we didn't have one caller today.
That's because the phone lines are jacked up. But listen, we're going to take a quick break. The voice of reason is turned up today, you know.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, listen to a little music. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap it up for y'all. Today's show's been crazy.
Great show, man.
Yo. Back in the building, the voice of reason, man. Today's show, man. Yeesh.
Great show.
It's been a pretty good show.
Intense.
I feel like we help people today.
People on Twitter are talking about they're taking notes, and
I'm taking
one
notes.
of the best shows. Yeah, I was taking notes too.
I got a couple books to buy.
I got about 6.
I got about 12. Just kidding. I just want to try. Want to compete? Let's compete.
Book battle, compete.
Book battle.
Show.
Maybe we should. No, we shouldn't do that. I love the phone lines. I love to hear from, the listeners. I like to get their opinions and their perspectives.
This was different, though, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that never call in, so they probably appreciated just being able to hear knowledge today. Right?
Yeah. A little knowledge.
Yeah. Somebody said they need a few minutes to process. I mean, Veronica, let's do it this way. Veronica, do us a favor. We're going to do summations, right? But I'm going to save you till the last. I want to go with Whitney. Okay. Whitney, what's your summation?
Today's summation, man. Honestly, I feel like I say this as my summation a lot, but because I really, truly feel this way, just be true to yourself and just know that you're not the end all be all. Like, there are other things that you can learn. So be open-minded, but then also just be true and be real. Like, just be real, people. Millionaire. That's all you gotta
do.
Just be real. Like, honestly, like, it's okay. Not everybody's gonna agree with you. Not everybody's gonna, want to hear what you have to say. But as long as you're true to yourself, no one can tell you anything. So that's how I live, and I challenge you to live that way as well. It's been real. It's been real. Y'all can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Miss Taber. I'm out.
Red Panda.
Yeah, this has really been an awesome show today. I'm glad to have been a part of the conversation. My summation is just happiness will come to you when it comes from you. If you're a happy person, if you are good people, I feel like you will attract happy people. And I feel like your boy picker, as Veronica calls it, will be extra strong once you back up a little bit and maybe shuffle through your shit. I know I'm still shuffling through all my shit, so don't trip.
Don't trip.
Veronica Conway.
Yeah, I think that you have to begin to pay attention to the barometer that is your body. If you're hurting inside, it's a sign that something is wrong. If you keep banging your head up against relationships, stuff with people, it's a sign that something is wrong, something deeper. So I think that the only way through is inside. I think you have to go in and do that deeper exploration, because only in that process can you learn that the boogeymans aren't real, and then you fall in love with yourself, and then the world falls in love with you. It's really, but it's inside out, and there's no shortcuts. Ain't no shortcuts.
That's real.
Absolutely.
Your inner God hates the liar that coexists within you. The liar makes you comfortable. Your inner God challenges you to overcome fear. Fear contaminates loving, intimate relationships. Fear seeks to partner with ego. Ego wants to control so it can always feel safe. Right? This is why relationships are in trouble. There's an old Zen saying, Zen Buddhist saying, jump and then the net will appear. Most people are trying to construct nets and all types of parachutes and everything. You go into the relationship with a quiet whisper in the back of your mind saying, in the event that this don't work. And the universe doesn't know the difference. It's going to make it not work because you brought that contaminant into it to begin with. Mr. Right or Mrs. Wrong and all of that stuff, they're illusions. I keep telling people you get who you are. If you want it better, you'd have to be better. And until you become better, you're not going to get better. It's really that simple. You know, I got super love for everybody who tunes into this show. I got super love for everybody who participates on this show. You know, we're going to have different looks all the time, different voices, you know, flowing in and out, different guests. But the whole purpose is to challenge what you thought was true before you turned us on the dial. And if we've done that today, then this was a useful show. The moment we stop doing that, then the show really has no voice, has no purpose. So I've got nothing but love. Let me go around the table again. Everybody give your social media hookups real quick. Ashonti.
You can hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Ashonti4Live. I have an across-country road trip coming up where we're basically going to be campaigning in each state. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube, Girl on Fire Production.
Whit.
What's up? Yo, you guys can find me mainly on Instagram. I'm kicking it on Snapchat a lot. My Snapchat is WHITLEI. But like I said, Twitter and Instagram is at Miss Taber and also MissTaber.com.
Yeah. And
I was ready for H-Town to bust through the door.
yeah. Veronica, where they find you? Come on.
You can find me at VeronicaConway.com. You can also find me on Twitter, Facebook. I think I'm on Instagram and Pinterest. Usually just look for Veronica Conway and you can find me.
All right, so here it is. You can go to the IamZoWilliams.com website. 225 copies remaining of The Relationship Dismount. Go get your copy now, or there's just no more. There's just no more. I'm not going to print them again. Oh, my app is out for all Android users, Google Play people, the ZoWilliams app. That's ZoWilliams, no space in between Zo or Williams. You look it up, you'll see my app. It is free. All of my shows, books, tours, lectures. I'm getting ready to do a lecture at Kentucky State. Yeah, they reached out. They want me to come down and speak to the men down there. And, man, I'm having a great time. If you get my app, you'll be updated on all the stuff that I'm doing. I will be, what is this? October 10th, 2015. I will be at the Million Man March for show. I will be there. But all of this is contained in the app, right? My coaching, the book, everything. Kindle, download that app, Google Play, ZoWilliams, no space. Get yourself a copy of The Relationship Dismount. That's how it goes down. I have love for you guys. Continue to follow us. And we'll be back Friday with another heater. All right? Deuces.